You are now listening to Sir Inc.'s The Experience Podcast, where we talk about anything and everything kink. Now, this podcast is only catered to those that are 18 and above and may not be suitable for work, or as we like to say, NSF. But remember, you can always listen to us during your private time. Hello, kinky and kink curious folk out there. My name is Sir Inc., and I'm going to discuss with you. I don't feel like it. I'm not in the mood. What am I referring to? Being a dom or being a sub. It takes discipline, right? I mean, there are days where you'll wake up and may not be in the mood to serve or be in the mood to be a dom. Now, what do I mean by being in the mood to be a dom, right? Because if you're a dominant man, you're a dominant man, period, right? But when it comes to the lifestyle of BDSM and kink, specifically BDSM and roles, as a dominant, there are times where you may be tired from work, you may be mentally exhausted from this, that, and the other, and your submissive needs their time with you. Time to either talk, whether it's your routine conversations, whether it be their routine tasks, for example, like journal, right? You may have your sub do a journal every day, and you need to have time to read that journal. Now, sometimes you may not be in the mood to read the journal, and then you'll be like, oh, tonight she sent it, but I'll read it in the morning. The morning comes, now you're back in the mood, and you don't read the journal, and then something else happens, you don't read the journal, and then you start asking questions to your submissive that shows that you're not reading the journals, right? And so you always have to have a level of discipline and a level of juice to be in the lifestyle for roles. And like I said, it's really about discipline and time management. There are days that I may not feel up to reading a journal, but I make sure I read the journal. I make sure I read the journal and respond. It is a level of discipline that you have to have, and you have to say, you know what, I'm going to give my attention to this, no matter what's going on. Unless I'm out or I'm at work and I'm very busy, I have to make time to sit and read this journal and make sure I respond, because it's respect. You have to respect the dedication that someone and the effort your submissive is putting into making the dynamic what it is. You really do. And as I've explained this before, there are times where my life becomes very busy with work. And so I'm very clear with that with my sub. So she understands that, around this time, I'm not going to be as proficient as I normally am. I'm not going to be as attentive as I normally can be because of just traveling, being on and off planes, dealing with different trade shows and all the people I have to deal with. I have to be in a whole different zone and atmosphere and all that. So those things can be discussed early, but it can never be that I'm in my regular routine and I can't make time, or I did not make time to appreciate what she's sending. And journals work best because of the way I work. I am engaging the public all the time, so I don't have time to be on the phone talking to my sub, and nor does she have the time to do that as well. So, following up at the end of the night, our conversation end of the night, her telling me how her day was, things like that. I make sure I make time. I make sure that I reserve time for her. Even if it's just to say, how was your day? Okay, good night. But once you establish a routine with someone, those things become, very easy, and people are understanding, and we work with one another in that way. As well as her being a submissive. There are family things, there's work things that may step in the way of some of her duties. And so, just letting each other know what's going on instead of being frustrated, in the moment, like, damn, you ain't do this, or damn, you didn't do that. You're not being a good sub, or you're not a real dime. Those kind of conversations don't have to happen when you understand what someone's going through. So there has to be a level of transparency. And then there has to be times where you can just be honest, like flat out, I'm tired. Flat out, I'm tired. Thank you for sending this journal, or thank you for doing your task. I will look at them when I have, better energy, a clearer mind, those kind of things. That to me is acceptable. It's one thing to be able to send a journal or do a task, and I just look at it, glance it, and be like, all right, cool, she did it. Thank you. And it's a whole other thing to get it and be like, I just don't have mental juice right now. So to respond with, thank you for doing your task. I'm going to look at it when I have fresher eyes, or, just more energy, so I can properly give the time that it deserves for me to really appreciate what you sent, and respond in a more meaningful manner instead of giving you some no thrills response. Like, hey, thank you, you're doing a good job, baby girl, boom, boom, good night. Really want to read the journal. The journal is a way, or that night conversation, if you're not talking during the day, that end of the night conversation is meaningful because you want to know how the day was, what's their mood before they go to bed, feeling a certain kind of way about a family member, a situation, work, whatever the case may be. You might want to give those little last words before they go to bed to make them feel better. If they're looking to you as the dominant to maybe provide some comfort, words of encouragement in those times. And you have to make time for that. You absolutely have to make time for that. And if you don't have time, it's best to get ahead of it and say, hey, look, tonight I got some things going on. I got a business dinner, or got kids, back to school night, whatever the case may be. Be transparent with that so that person knows that their efforts aren't being taken for granted or being overlooked, or you're bored with them, or so on and so forth. You have to have juice. You have to respect your partner's time and effort in this lifestyle. And listen, I get it. Like, not all the time do we feel up to our duties, to performing our duties, but we have to push through those moments. And it's okay to not feel in the mood. It's okay to not have juice. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but it's not okay not to communicate that. Because when you don't communicate, you send a message of, I don't appreciate you, I'm bored with you, I have someone else, or I have something else going on that's taking my attention away from you. And so when you're transparent about what's going on with you, it makes everything better. It doesn't leave a person in the dark guessing what's going on. It doesn't leave a person to think on their own about what's going on. Because a lot of times when you make assumptions, what they say, you make an ass out of you, an assumption, right? And so be clear, be dedicated, and through dedication and discipline, you can avoid pitfalls and failures and confusion. But this is just a quick thought about, just when you're not in the mood to perform your duties, why you should push through, how you push through, and how you communicate that to your dom or your sub so that they know that their efforts aren't being taken for granted, but you're actually just so overwhelmed with whatever else is going on that you can't give them what they may need, or that routine that you're normally used to. You're outside of it because of other circumstances. But when you explain those circumstances, it makes everything so much easier. Like, I work best when I know where I'm going and how I'm getting there. You can't say, well, I don't know where we're going, or I don't know what's going on with me. Those things are unacceptable, especially as a dominant. You have to have a direction planned out. You have to know how you're getting there. And if you see changes coming, you just have to call that out. You have to let the people who's riding with you know. I know we say we're going to go right at this light, but we're going to make a left because we're going to take a different way. But I promise you, we're going to get back on this course by taking this left. And it's a small detour, but we'll get right back and let them know. And then be accountable. Be accountable and do what you say you're going to do. It's most important for men, period. Dominant men especially. Do what you say you're going to do all the time. And if that changes, be clear about that. But what do you guys think? You guys know how to reach me, Sir INQ, on everything. You can email me at sirinq09@gmail.com. And until next time, peace.